Welcome everyone to class number 8, working with the bison, and today we're going to put it all together. So let's begin with a meditation. Rub your hands, activate your hands, breathing in. Tap your feet on the floor a little bit to sense the connection with the ground. And then stroke your head, stroke your face, stroke down to your feet. And your belly. Really connect with your whole body as you're stroking. Feel as if you were a bison with that very thick coat, sensing that type of protection that would protect you against really cold weather, against the wind, against the snows, against the rain. And we're so different as humans with our thin skin comparatively. But this gives us sensitivity, our skin. So there's some things to be grateful for as humans. And think of the big bones of the bison that can support 2,000 pounds if you're a male bison. 1 ton. It's pretty amazing. And then come to the belly and do slow circles. And today, think of balance and integration. So this last lesson of this series, we put it all together, everything you've learned so far about this animal to integrate. And a sense of belonging to something bigger than you, belonging to a herd. So humans have become so individualized with our clothing and our ideas, the faction groups that we belong to. See if you can connect to your herd that goes beyond just your family or friends, but the whole humanity. As you stroke your belly, all the many ancestors that were responsible for you to be here today, and all of their relations that helped them get to where they are, that after a while we connect to so many humans. Humans outside of your DNA field. Well, not exactly all the way outside, but you know what I mean, outside of your family system. The human race, all colors, shapes, sizes, genders, all of humanity. And then put your left hand at the bottom, right hand on top. Tap your heels, feel the bones. Let your body settle into the ground. And just softening your face, feeling your skin, and that encasing the skin brings you. This is helpful in meditation, and particularly with the bison with their thick skin, to feel a little more insulation of your skin. It allows you to be you, but also connect with the herd. Settle into your seat and feel the connection with also now the earth and integrating your humanity and your connection to all living things. Not just the things you love, but all living things that share this planet with you. Settle into your seat and connect with this larger herd of earthlings fellow earthlings. Now you can pause this and sit a little longer in this place of contemplation and place of quiet. But for now, that'll end our meditation. And let's open your eyes, and we're going to head down to the floor. Today I'm using a blanket, a double blanket roll for my pillow. You can use pillows. The blanket roll's a little firmer. It's not necessarily more, you know, it's not necessarily better, but it's a different experience. So you can try that sometime. Let's head down to the floor. And if you want something for your face as well. All right, so we're going to lie on our pillows. Spread your knees and take your right hand on the bottom, left hand on top, toes tucked under, and straighten your knees so you can push with your toes. Your forehead is resting on the top hand, which is the left hand. And just push a little bit so that you're pushing your forehead up and then come back, and you get this feeling of the toes pushing the whole skeletal system. It doesn't need to be much of a muscular movement. You can start to feel the bones doing the pushing. And then rest your knees for a moment. Take your left hand away so that it's in a push-up position to the side of your left shoulder, and your forehead is resting on the back of your right hand again. And do the same movement now, but having the left hand in that pushing position. Push with your toes and then push with your left hand. So now you roll your head to the right and then come back with your knees to the ground. So lift your knees, push with your toes, and then push with your left hand. And then let your head roll back, and then just play with the legs stay straight and just pushing with the left hand. Let your neck relax. So it's the skeletal movement from the left hand pushing. It takes time to relax your neck enough for this to happen. Okay, rest. Bring your left knee up, and you can take your right hand down so you can lie a little bit partially on your side, head turned to the left. And settling into the ground. Breathing. And these resting positions are very therapeutic in themselves. If you can sense your bones as you rest, the musculature can let go a little more. The more you feel your bones as you rest. So give it a moment or two. See if you can settle into the ground. And notice what's still lifting up, what's still holding you upward. Can you surrender more of yourself into the floor? And then let's come back again onto your pillow. So you're square on top of it. Take your left hand, palm down under your head, right hand on top. Straighten your legs so you can push with your toes. And just play with that movement of pushing up and then coming back and feeling, can you sense the skeletal It's like a cue stick in billiards where you have a stick pushing. And then take away your right hand so that that's in that push-up position along the side of you, elbow toward the ceiling. And then push with your toes so your head is rolling up, and then push with the right hand so you're rolling your head up and to the left. So it's a little similar to the last lesson, but we're really trying to feel the bones doing the pressing now, and the neck more relaxed, more following the movement of the hand, forearm, upper arm, shoulder. Slow it down, make it smaller so you can breathe. And then the rest, this time with your knee to the right. Take your left arm down and turn your head to the right. And settle into the ground. If you want to wiggle a little bit to settle, sometimes that can help, but just let your whole body sink into the floor. Each breath a little bit more, sinking into the floor. And by the way, you could fall asleep very quickly doing this, so we won't spend too long. But one more breath, settle. And then let's come back on top of your pillow. And this time, take your both hands out to the side. So they're in a push-up position. Legs are spread, toes tucked under. Straighten your knees. And begin to push up and down with your knees a little bit, just to feel your forehead rolling. Okay? And then leave that. Don't push anymore, but keep your knees straight. And then just begin to push with the left hand to roll your head so you're facing, your right ear will come a little toward the floor, but don't go all the way, just a little bit. Stay there and then push with your toes up and down. And then come back by pushing with the right hand and see if you can do less. Do less so that your neck is more relaxed. Push with the right hand till you're back to the middle, and then find where is the middle, and then push beyond the middle so your head comes, so the left ear is coming toward the floor, but not all the way. Don't go too far, just comfortable. And now push with the toes up and down there. Okay, not too fast, but a little bit up and down with the feet. And then push slowly with the left to find where is the middle. And your nose will be pointing down when you get to the middle. So push with your left hand and feel where is your nose straight down. And in that middle place, push with both feet up and down and leave that. And now continue to push with the left hand, slower this time. And notice, sorry if it makes noise, notice how that feels. As you push, and then stay in this turned to the left position with the nose and push up and down with your toes. Okay? And then come back by pushing with the right hand slowly to the middle. And feel where is the middle. Don't go too far. find the middle and push with the toes. Okay? Leave it, come off your blanket or pillow and lie on your back. And just rest on your back. Notice the contact with the floor, with your bones. You can wriggle a little on the floor just to feel your arms and legs, sliding them or moving them a little bit just to feel the contact with the ground. As upright animals, we humans, most of the time we're on the ground is just usually when we're sleeping these days. So this practice of getting down to the floor and really sinking your body into the ground is very restorative. It's different than sleep, but it evens out the effort in the body. It helps emotions regulate. Notice what this does for you. Notice how you breathe. Do you feel your rib cage maybe more than you normally do? And do you feel the contact with your arms and legs or the back of your head if you roll your head? Does that feel already bigger? Okay, bend your knees. Let's come onto your pillows one more time. Spread your knees. Take your hands apart in that push-up position and straighten your legs. And now take your right hand and slide it higher so that you can push from the right hand to the left toe and keeping the knees straight, and then push from your left toes to your forehead, and your right hand will kind of catch the movement. This is a diagonal plane, and you're playing with this where your right hand is. You can move it a little higher. The elbow, obviously, as you move your hand higher, can't be on top of the hand, but it's still up in the air toward the ceiling. See if you can make this line between the hand and the foot and the forehead So you feel your forehead in this whole play, and then bring it back to the center of your hand where it's outstretched from the shoulder and push from there. And then rest for a moment with your arms wherever you like. You can bring a knee up if you like to rest. Just rest for a moment. And be gentle with this if you have any kind of shoulder injury or some feeling of restriction in your shoulders. You don't have to move the arm very much. A little is great, but just this process will help align the movement of your arm and shoulder, which will be healing if you have shoulder issues. Let's come again. Take your arms out to the side for the push-up position. Straighten your knees so you're on your toes, and take your left hand and slide it upward and push with your right foot to your left hand, and then push the left hand to the right foot. Now that's going to roll your head, but don't use your neck to roll your head. Just allow the foot and the hand to move, pushing one to the other, and your head is in the middle of all of that. Your head is taken for the ride. And then Try even a little higher with your left hand. The right hand is in the push-up position sideways, straight out. So you'll use that right hand a little for balance, but you're mostly thinking about the right foot and the left hand. And then take your left hand back again to straight out to the side. Okay, rest. Maybe bring your other knee up to rest. Rest your arms. Okay, and now come back. Straighten your legs. Tuck your toes so they're underneath. And now we're going to take one hand and slide it upward and play a little bit with sliding it up, bringing it down, and then the other hand, and start to feel this different movement of your head depending on where your hands are. Alternate, pushing from one hand to the opposite foot, and then the other hand pushing. And feel how your head and neck get to move differently. If you bring both arms up, right, that's a different feeling. And then bring one arm down. You bring the other arm down. Just play a little bit with your arms here. It's a fascinating way to connect with the spine and the neck. Okay. Come back to the middle and push with both feet now so that your head rolls straight up and down. And then turn your head to the right and keep pushing with the straight legs and turn your head to the left. So now your neck is being pushed by your feet and your arms are helping that. Okay, let's come off and rest on your back. And if you like, you can hold your knees to your chest. Take one knee with one hand and the other. Wiggle your feet and toes. You can rock a little side to side and then rest your legs. Feel the contact with the ground. And we're going to return to our wallowing hole here. So bend your knees. Take a hold of your horns, so to speak. So put your hands above your ears on the side of your head, not interlaced, just holding. It's as if the middle fingers touch on the top back of your head so that your elbows, if you were to reach toward the ceiling with your elbows and bring them together a little bit, you could easily roll your head, bring your chin down toward your chest and roll your head upward. So feel, is that movement clearer after what we just did? Okay, of using your arms to pull your head between your legs in that direction. And then just come back, rest your head, but leave your hands in this holding of horns position. And spread your feet a little bit wider than hip width, knees bent, and then pick up by using your feet. Push with your soles of your feet down into the floor to lift your hips upward. So just do that for a moment. Lift your hips up and bring them down, feeling that line between the feet and the chest. And as you lift your pelvis up, lift your elbows toward your pelvis. So you're going to round your head down as you lift your pelvis up and then come back. So everything is kind of rounding into your chest and then come back. Okay, lengthen. Lengthen your legs, rest your arms. All right. Bend your knees. Bring your feet up into the air. And we did this before of tilting your legs side to side. Okay. Now the arms, what to do with your arms? So they can kind of catch you from falling, right? You can, as you tilt your legs, your arm can block so you don't just fall from side to side. So you can do that with your arms. But now bring your arms toward the ceiling. So now they're with your legs. And now you're starting to look more like a bison. And you could wiggle one butt down and one butt up, kind of wiggle the back of your butt. You can do that. Or you can reach your arms side to side, leave your feet where they are, and move your head and your shoulders. This is something else they do with their upper body to kind of wiggle in the ground. Okay, now coordinate this. So spread them a little bit apart and begin to roll to your side. And see if you can do it without falling, which means that your top legs and arm is a counterbalance so that you could roll using the levers of your top arm and leg to roll to your side. And then reverse that to come back onto your back. And you can try that in either direction. And so that it doesn't need to be a momentum, you could pause at any place and reverse, and it's very fun to do. But what we're going to do next is go a little quicker of rolling to your side and then just coming up. So you're going to go a little bit quicker at the end to come up to sitting. Okay? And then from sitting, you can take your knees so they're at the same place and maybe take one foot underneath and then come up pushing with your hands and feet to standing. So go ahead and come to stand. You put your hands on your head and just turn your head and just feel this connection with your head and your feet as you put your hands on your head. And continue to walk a little bit. And when you're ready, come back and have a seat. But that'll conclude our last of the Bison lessons, from wallowing to roaming around. How does it feel in your chest now and your pelvis as you sit? Do you feel the power of your spine, of your feet? Of your head? By the way, I have some really fun videos today to conclude with, and also the announcement about the next series, which is the wolf. I'll be actually very soon going to Yellowstone and hanging out with some wolf experts, and I'm pretty excited about that. Well, I think the orientation, like I've heard this from so many places, but a four-legged animal, even though we're four-legged, but that walk four-legged, their heart is oriented to the earth all the time. And maybe you've heard this before, and that there's something about your heart facing the earth that makes it closer, that you sense the magnetism of the earth. We don't feel as separated from the earth, you see. And so like in today's meditation, it's just this reminder, like we have the people we love and the people we're related to, but then when you orient in this way of the lesson, you feel the connection that is a different, it's not just a romantic love or a sentimental love. It's this vibratory, like I belong in this orientation of my heart connected to the ground. And if you get a chance to do this when the ground is warm or on a warm stone or on the beach or in the summer to lie on your belly, it's so healing, especially if you have a lot of emotion, if you have a lot of pain of any kind, it's remarkably healing. And there's this quote from a native person I heard once was, if you are really depressed and you sit every day with your back against the cedar, you will move through your depression. Like the cedar will give you strength and you'll align again, so you won't be depressed anymore. It will give you the strength that you need to face whatever it is you're feeling depressed about. So, and I did that for quite a long time. When I had a rough patch of my life, I sat against a cedar tree for a very long time. And it did help. It helped a lot. But actually, even more helpful is lying face down on the earth. And I just highly recommend it when the weather's warm. And of course, you got to be careful if you live in tick country to, put something down so you can do this experience, and be careful if you're in an area with ticks. But you can do a tick check, and you can, you can find ways to do these things. Share my videos.
Too far and too quickly for people to keep pace. Instead, plains hunters needed to predict where and when herds would appear and use the environment around them to their advantage. Most hunts were probably small affairs made up of a small group of hunters from a nearby camp or settlement scouring the locale for bison to kill. Bison don't tolerate humans getting too close, so early hunters had to get creative. They knew from generations of observation that many animals like pronghorn, elk, and deer could linger close to herds. Even coyotes and wolves were common sights around the herds, ever vigilant for a stray bison or calf. Plains people watching these interactions would have realized that disguising themselves as one of these animals could allow them to get nice and close to a desired bison before firing a spear or arrow into the unsuspecting prey. In better scenarios, hunters could lure or drive bison into disadvantageous terrain. In optimal conditions, it could be relatively easy to pick off a few bison from a herd or to surround an isolated bison and bring it down. Driving bison through deep winter snow or waiting at river crossings were tried and true tactics. These kinds of efforts would have yielded limited returns, but larger and more elaborate hunting methods were available that could result in dozens of killed bison, sometimes even hundreds. These are referred to as communal hunts, and they require the involvement of large numbers of people. These typically involve channeling bison herds into poor or confined terrain where they could be easily picked off or even killed in a stampede. Archaeology can detect these kill sites because they contain either a single layer of densely packed bison bones or even multiple layers of bones from reuse of the site. These will also have evidence of butchering and in some cases may even be accompanied by a campsite, which would have been a temporary processing facility. Such hunts required a very detailed knowledge of the landscape and bison behavior. Contrary to what you might think, people didn't just wait to find a herd of bison in the right place and then spring on them. They carefully orchestrated these massive operations. They would have taken lots of advanced planning and rehearsal, but the results were well worth it. A successful hunt like this could supply months' worth of food, clothing, and shelter for a community. This is really where the ingenuity of plains hunters really shines. Let's take a deep dive into these communal hunting practices. Communal hunting goes back thousands of years, and we even see communal hunting practiced by Paleo-Indians. These sites are associated with the larger bison antiquus. One common early type of communal bison hunting sites are arroyo traps, and the earliest of these date back to the Paleo-Indian period at the end of the Pleistocene. They show that people were already devising bison hunting techniques as other megafauna became scarce. Arroyos are basically steep-walled gullies formed by erosion during repeated flash floods. These arroyo traps worked by maneuvering a group of bison into the mouth of an arroyo so that they would charge in and get trapped by the steep walls. The only available exit for the bison would be the way they came in, but turning around in such a confined space with so many other bison would have been difficult and confusing. This gave hunters stationed at the top of the rim more than enough time to dispatch the bison they needed. One early kill site, the Cooper site, is worth highlighting because excavations revealed a bison skull at the site that was painted with red ochre. This is a 10,000-year-old site, and it suggests that there was already ritual activity associated with these communal hunts.
I'm going to pause there because you can tell we could watch that whole video. But I just wanted you to see not just about the bison, but humans and how clever we were to use hunting in the way. The reason I wanted to show this is that as we move into the wolf, you're going to see a very interesting correlation between humanity and wolves, and then how we've then domesticated wolves to have them as dogs, as assistants for us for hunting and protection is a really interesting evolution, right? And how we domesticated beef, right? Because buffalo couldn't be herded the way cattle could. So it's an interesting look at animal species, how species work together. I thought that the people in the wolf wearing the wolf skins approaching the buffalo, how brilliant was that, right? That they could observe that that's how the wolves could get pretty close to the bison because they really have a tough time taking a bison down, the wolves. But we'll talk about that when we get to the wolves from another video. Kind of a nice way to end the series. This was last year, I believe. This is from 60 Minutes, and I'll just play this, and it's in northern Montana. You saw that tiny little herd. Imagine that there were millions like that, but here we go. We got to start somewhere. I'm just going to stop there because, of course, we could watch the whole thing, but isn't that exciting? So, wildlife corridors are key in Africa and so many different countries, and it's a vision that a lot of conservation people are working toward for healthy migrations, which are so necessary for so many different animals. And I just wanted to finish with that very encouraging, exciting story. And I'm going to be talking with these naturalists in Yellowstone, and I'll see what else I can find about, because there's a lot of these corridor projects. We have them in Washington State. We have them on Whidbey Island, where I live. It's beautiful, and there's so many hard things to hear in environmental news, but that was wonderful to find that beautiful special. So I just wanted to share that with you, and that we can keep these thoughts in our heads for the planet and the interconnectedness of our species. We're going to move on to wolves soon, and I'm excited about that. And thank you so much for being here, and enjoy.